Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How you doing? Ole gets the chop. Another manager down the drain. Unfortunately, he's a club legend. Probably a month too late. Definitely a month too late. Arguably 4 months too late. But either way, board moves late. What's new, sir? What day is it? After all, I can't even keep track anymore. What's going on?
Sir, for those who don't know, it is Groundhog Day.
Morning! See the groundhog?
Yeah?
Think it'll be an early spring.
Didn't we do this yesterday?
I don't know what you mean.
Don't mess with me, pork chop. What day is this?
It's February 2nd. Groundhog Day.
Yeah. Sorry. You know, I thought it was yesterday.
Oh.
Another manager goes at Manchester United. Round and round we go with this board. Eddie Woodward and co. A sad day for Manchester United fans. I think we're all feeling it. Mixed emotions. No one wants to see us lose like that against Watford, but then have Ole kind of sacked in the way he was. They let him hang out to dry way too long. Like you said, it was just tough to see him withering in the wind, sir. These tough results and having to face the music. Apologizing to the fans, apologizing for smiling. Ole joins the ghosts of managers past, sir. It's just one of those things where it's bittersweet here. But I don't feel good because of who's running the show. We're getting interim again. Interim for the whole season. Will they give the interim another deal that he doesn't deserve? Will they be able to find the right coach for Manchester United? Apparently, they think Poch is the guy.
Oh, he's not.
I know.
He's definitely not the guy.
It's just, I just don't trust this board. Hashtag Glazers out all day. I think, clearly the results, we need a new manager. But at the same time, our eyes on Eddie Woodward, our eyes on Eddie Woodward's replacement, and our eyes on the Glazers, because the one thing you have to say, they have absolutely bundled this whole thing with this football team. They've totally screwed up this whole sacking transition process. It could have been really easy. You could have got Conte after Liverpool. He was screaming for the job. They continue to fail in the boardroom at every single level, whether it's getting the right players in, hiring the right director of football, backing the manager in the appropriate ways. It's just selecting the manager. Everything about this board is incompetent. So I think you play Groundhog Day, it makes a lot of sense because incompetence surely will rear its head again in this manager selection process. And, we just got to be prepared for it.
We are living in Groundhog Day as fans of this storied club because of the people in charge. It's like they haven't done anything differently. There's 4 managers down the chute. Rest in peace to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a manager that had its strengths, had its weaknesses. All in all, was a positive force on the club, but ultimately should have probably been sacked after Villareal. Definitely should have been sacked after Liverpool. And this is just more incompetency. It makes it look bad, makes us look bad. All the negative stuff that's come out over the last month is bad for the brand, bad for the team, bad for the players, bad for the fans. And they allowed it to happen by not moving quickly, and then their hand was forced by just another famous loss, like you said. In Vicarage Road, they'll be singing of the 4-1 thumping of Manchester United that led to the dismissal of their legendary player that became a manager, coach, in Ole. They'll be singing about that for years. So it's just more of the same. Nothing's going to change. Ole, we appreciated the job he did. It was time for him to go, but at the end of the day, the problems are the top of the table, baby. They're in the top of the pyramid. They're the Glazers and Woodward. Woodward's hanging around. The Glazers are going nowhere. Richard Arnold is just another Ed Woodward. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's not a football man. They're money men, and they care about just keeping the Glazers fat, dumb, and happy, sir. And that's why we're going to continue to suffer. We're going to continue to decline. The decline will continue. It will accelerate, if anything, because the league is more competitive than it's ever been. Newcastle's hopping in the play. You got another big actor with a shit ton of cash, and I guarantee it. They're going to put in smarter people in their front office than Ed Woodward, John Murtaugh, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, bittersweet day for all American Red Devils out there. Look, we're getting you the emergency podcast. We recorded yesterday's podcast right after the match. So
Groundhog Day.
We literally didn't see all the rumors flying just because we were yapping. So we had to come out anytime a manager sacks her, we always do the emergency podcast.
Not the first one. I'm about to say, not the first emergency pod, like sacking pod.
We're on. This is our. What is this? We're gonna be on our third manager since we started this podcast in 2017, and it just feels like we're not going in the right direction. We can get into the specifics of all the managers and how Ole stacks up in a second here, but just do a quick PSA for the podcast. If you like, fan generated content, sir, we're independent. We don't have any sponsors. We don't pull any punches here on this podcast. If you listen to this motion roller coaster, we've been living it this last couple of months with Ole at the wheel and everything that's gone down ever since. You want to support us on Patreon? Check out our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/AmericaRedDevils. Great way to support this small-time operation. It is such a small-time operation. We barely know how to use this audio equipment. So apologies for the hot mics.
Hot mic
on yesterday's pod, because again, we were hot and the mics were hot. This recording equipment we barely know how to use. So please support us. We think direct fan support is the way to go. Also check out our blog, www.americareddevils.com. I'm sure we're going to get some fan blog content on the new manager, how Ole performed as well. Also, sir, you can write a review on iTunes. It's free. Great way to support the pod. Tell them about it.
Write a review on iTunes goes a long way in helping us get found organically, and it goes a long way in supporting the pod. All you have to do, write a 5-star review on iTunes. Got a little banner, something to throw about the pod, about the team, whatever. Put it on there. We appreciate it. And send a screenshot of that 5-star review and send it to AmericaRedDevils@gmail.com with your mailing address. And I will personally send you some free swag to your door just in time for the holidays, sir. Great way to support the pod. Doesn't cost $1 at all.
Yeah, and it goes a long way. We
just got off a bike ride. That's Sunday morning bike ride, and we're like, hot take before we even feed the kids, feed the wives breakfast. We're doing hot take pods.
No, that's how we do it here. It's just, you want to support this small time. Wherever you listen, subscribe, like it, drop a review. It helps us. I mean, we're just two guys in a bunker next to his garage. It's just freezing cold. Giving you the hot takes about Manchester United. You know what? We love doing it because we love this club. We'll follow it through the ups and the downs, to the Conference League, to everything, sir. We will be there.
We go to championship. We go to the championship.
Thursday nights in Serbia, Friday nights in Serbia. Wherever we have to go, we will follow this storied club. And just another chapter, sir. So let's start off. The news broke this morning. I got up at 6:30. Like you said, we went on a bike ride. I'm still wearing all my clothes here. News broke. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer out as Manchester United manager.
Welcome along to Super Sunday Matchday. Breaking news in the last half an hour. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked as manager of Manchester United. Michael Carrick will take charge of United following Solskjaer's departure, with the club looking for an interim appointment until the end of the season. So look, after weeks of speculation, Manchester United have sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this morning following that 4-1 defeat to Watford. At 10:30, United released a statement announcing the decision. This is what they said. Ole will always be a legend at Manchester United, and it is with regret that we have reached this difficult decision. While the past few weeks have been disappointing, they should not obscure all the work he has done over the past 3 years to rebuild the foundations for long-term success. Ole leaves with our sincerest thanks for his tireless efforts as manager and our very best wishes for the future. His place in the club's history will always be secure, not just for his story as a player, but as a great man and a manager who gave us many great moments. He will forever be welcome back at Old Trafford as part of the Manchester United family. Michael Carrick will now take charge of the team for the forthcoming games, while the club looks to appoint an interim manager to the end of the season.
All right, sir. The breaking news, the great communication from the board. After the Super League coup, they said they're going to talk to the fans. So instead of actually Joel coming out and speaking to the fans, telling him what the club is going to do, what their goals are, or even at Woodward for that matter, you just got the crafty spin. Ole's a great guy. We decided to sack him. We didn't keep him around longer than we should have because he gives us cover and he's a yes man. I mean, the spin from this club is just incredible. You look at how many things that the board and Ed Woodward have bottled. It's insane. The list of managers: firing Moyes too soon, firing LVG too soon, not backing Mourinho when he's a manager you got to back, then bringing in Ole and giving him a deal too early, and then backing him like you probably should have maybe backed Mourinho and then hanging on to him because he just literally doesn't ruffle feathers and doesn't win you titles. Everything about how they've hired and fired managers suggests, even with those managers on that list, none of them could have been successful because of the board and because of Ed Woodward. That is what is insane about it. It's like Ole was a great interim. He stayed the ship, gave us a bounce. Then that's when you hire the Pochettino, or you hire. I obviously you don't like Pochettino.
You never won anything. I'm just saying.
I'm not. You hire somebody like him. You hire a manager with the CV, right?
Call it Tuchel.
Whoever it is, Ole kind of steadies the ship, makes everyone feel good, gets everything kind of going back, and then you hire the guy with the right CV for Manchester United, the right CV to back with that type of money. And instead, they decided to back the interim guy, and you get interim guy results at the end of the day. We all love Ole. It's nothing against him. But, that's why you lose the Europa League, because he doesn't have the CV. It's nothing against him. Like you said, he has weaknesses. He has strengths.
No, of course, and doesn't matter.
But the board's the issue.
Doesn't exactly right. It doesn't matter what manager you get in, because even if you got in Zidane, you get in the first choice. You get into you get in Conte a month ago when you should have. Right, they obviously needed to move after Liverpool. All the fans knew it. The players probably knew it. You saw it subsequently in the games that have come since. But at the end of the day, dude, it doesn't matter what manager we put in there. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You could get Fergie at 55, like prime Fergie, and plop him in right now, dude, and he would not succeed, because this club will not succeed when you have Ed Woodward as your CEO. Remember, all of Ole's signings were late. He got all of his signings like a year late. Remember Gallo? Remember Cavani again?
I don't hate Legallo for those types of signings, and also not getting rid of players.
He got Maguire a year late. He got Bruno 6 months late. He got all of his. He never got Haaland. So it's like, you can make an argument. We know he wasn't the guy tactically on his day. He was shown up in Gdansk against a manager that everyone thought was inferior, right? Ha, ha, ha. Got laughed at Arsenal, Sir Unai Emery. But we knew that he wasn't the guy then, and that's fine. But like, they weren't on the front foot at all, right? They're like, well, he doesn't ruffle feathers, 3-year deal, re-up. Let's not look and see who's available. There were some managers available. There's a reason not to do Conte, but like, if you're going to make a move in the interim, there was a move to be made. We're suffering because of the board. We'll continue to suffer because of the board. It's Groundhog's Day because it's the board, bro. We're still talking about the same bullshit because the board is the same bunch of idiots, and they're not changing. All
right, let's hear what Gary Neville has to say about Ole being sacked. You know that Gary was sort of played with him, likes him, was kind of overtly supporting him in the press, backing his boy. But let's hear what he has to say.
The results have been shocking. Yesterday was a wimpish performance at Watford. I think you're always hoping that the club would, or the players would, respond, and that the 2-week international break would bring some sort of what would be freshness, but it looked like they had the world on their shoulders. Their performance levels over the last few weeks have dipped, and when a manager can't get a performance out of his players, and the results are getting as bad as they are, then in this game you're going to lose your job.
How did it get this bad? Because it's not the first time that Ole has experienced a bit of a blip as Manchester United manager. So what's gone so wrong in the last few weeks?
Yeah, he's always had that result that has, in the past, pulled him out of the mire where you thought it might get a little bit too tricky for him. But this time, the results have just got worse and worse and worse. And the worst thing is the performances. And the team have looked all over the place yesterday. I mean, I didn't see the game yesterday, but I saw the sort of highlights and saw the some of the goals. The defending is absolutely woeful. The goalkeeper, the defenders, and that's a back four, a back five that have played together a number of times. You know, Watford aren't the best team in the league by a long stretch, but they got mauled, Manchester United, yesterday. They couldn't get a performance out of them in the end. The players look drained of confidence, and I'm not surprised today that it's ended. And look, I said a few weeks ago, the worst that could have happened for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that he became a bridge from what would be, I thought, quite a dark period for the club to what I think may be, hopefully, a positive future. They need to get the next appointment right. That's probably going to be the end of the season.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a minute and where the club go next. But just going back to yesterday, something quite interesting at full time. Bruno Fernandes going over to the visiting United fans at Vicarage Road and trying to gesticulate and say it was our fault, don't necessarily blame Ole. I just wondered what you thought of Bruno doing that and whether it was the right decision in some ways for Ole to go.
Look, I think in terms of sort of Bruno going over to the fans and saying it's not all on Ole, I think that's absolutely right, and it's what players should do. They should take responsibility with the manager. The fact of the matter is, when it's spiralling out of control like it has in the last few weeks, I mean, look, 7 or 8 weeks ago, there was euphoria at Old Trafford. And within 7 or 8 weeks, it's just completely deteriorated. Look, he's going over to the fans there. He's waving goodbye. Some of the fans have obviously had a go. They're very upset. They're emotional after what is a terrible performance and result. And the players have gone over with him. But
yeah, I don't think we need to break down the goodbye. That was a rough one, seeing Bruno sort of the fan. I mean, like, I've never seen the away section turn like that. That was a moment, and the Glazers let it get to that.
And
I mean, let's not forget that.
That's their fault. It should never gotten that far.
Let's not forget that. You know, and that's what's a shame is, you know, you could see the writing on the wall, like you were there, sir. And that's what's amazing is you went to that game, Scouts Bastards 5-0. It was over then.
It was over then.
And some people hanging out at the beach in Tampa didn't quite understand it, and they should have acted because this football club needed it. So let's just go through the season as is, kind of look where it went wrong, the twists and the turns here.
Start us from the beginning, sir. Where did we start off?
5-1 against Leeds. I mean, great start for Manchester United. We got, everything going well. Then Southampton, They're reared its head. A draw, 1-1. We beat Wolves. It was a poor game. We didn't look good. 1-0. And then we signed CR7, beat Newcastle 4-1, but the first half was nervy there as well, if you recall.
That was Comeback City, I believe.
And then the Young Boys game, we lost.
International break. No, we had an international break, came back, Newcastle game, and then it started getting a little nervy.
Yeah, that was CR7, right? Then Young Boys, we lost, sir.
On the turf.
That was very poor. Then we beat West Ham. Then a lot of rotation from Ole. This is kind of one where he deserved criticism. Rotated really heavy. We lost to West Ham 1-0. Team looked like they didn't have any fight. And then
he stopped rotating. That was like he rotated so much more than we'd seen him do. Like almost 10 out of 11, right? I think players.
And then he comes out on September 25th, loses to Aston Villa. This was it.
This is when the red light was
This is kind of like it started flashing here. Then Villareal, horrid performance, right? So
horrible.
A lot of games here coming quick and fast and then breaks. So that probably doesn't help Ole a little bit. But again, a tough comeback City against Villareal. Arguably didn't deserve to win that. We draw Everton, another international break. Then we come back. Okay, we kind of survive. Lost to Villa, poor against Villareal, but we come back, draw Everton.
We weren't great then.
And then this is when it's over. Leicester City, 4-2. Boom. And another horrid performance against Atalanta that somehow we win. And then so we're kind of, this is like alarm bells are going. We're not even playing well, sometimes stealing a result. And then boom, sir, you fly out there. You're the good luck charm. Up 5-0. Scouts Bastards, sir. I mean, that one, you'll remember that.
Lucky Charms. I brought my bull. Lucky Charms.
This guy's
with me to
sitting
Manchester.
there. He's got like
full
gold
kit
chain,
wank.
lucky gold chain.
Full kit wank.
He's got like a lucky
I
four-leaf
brought the luck
clover
with me.
in the stands. Alex is like,
I brought no luck.
Sir, you're burning incense trying.
Hare Krishna. It was not
go.
working, sir. I'll tell you what. What up in flames?
Then we beat Tottenham, bad Tottenham on the slide. Nuno gets sacked 3-0. That was sort of the dead cat bounce there. Draw Atalanta.
There goes Conte.
Draw Atalanta. Lose to Shitty horribly at home again.
4
and
touches
then
in their box.
Go on international break. Now here's the deal. When you're the board and you're staring down ever since October 16th, Leicester just murking us. Then we're playing bad against Atalanta, stealing a result. 5-0 Scouts
They didn't watch
Bastards.
that game. The problem is they didn't watch this game.
No, but I'm saying these results here, these 6 games from October 16th to November 6th, we beat Atalanta, played horrible. We beat Tottenham, played decent. Then drew Atalanta again, didn't look great. And then Shitty play us off the park at home after losing to Scouts Bastards. He's got to go. You got 2 weeks.
But they probably didn't see that game, right? They probably just saw the scoreline. You're like, oh, he only lost by 2. But that was worse. In some ways, it was worse than the Liverpool game. In some ways, it wasn't as bad as the Liverpool game, right? That scoreline was bad. Klopp, it's always bad. But City, dude, they dominate. They like played with us. They like made us like look like fools. I mean, both games look like fools. It was bad, sir. It's been bad for a month.
No, but the whole
it's been
thing
like
is-
as bad as it's ever been for a month. And they finally waited to like the worst possible thing, which is basically get the shit kicked out of you by a team that's fighting relegation.
So we're on the downs. Everyone's like, if you have to look at if you're running the club, right? Okay, Leicester, that's bad. Atalanta, that was not great. And then the Scouse Bastards, okay. Probably need to start looking for other managers, right? Conte's available, right? Conte's like in the press, hey, I want to come. And you could go to Conte and be like, hey, we're going to give him 3 more games until international break, and then we can decide. So they say, we're going to give him 2 weeks, then we're going to decide. Beat Tottenham, draw Atalanta, which we probably shouldn't have even drawn, and then we lose, didn't even show up against Shitty. He's got to go. So the whole idea is you could have told Conte, you could have got him in, you could have, and you could have fired Ole November 6th. So based on those 3 games, the board says, hey, we need 2 weeks. By the way, they're communicating with the fans. Remember, they say we're going to communicate, and they're leaking all this through the press so no one knows what the fuck's going on. And then they come out and they say, I guess this was good enough. Beating Tottenham, a poor Tottenham, drawing Atalanta, and then losing horribly to our noisy neighbors is good enough to keep Ole around. And then this is where it gets dicey. Is you lose big to Watford. Now you fire him, and you got a game Tuesday. Oh, by the way, the guy who worked for the manager who you fired is now in charge. That's the plan? It's like the 2 weeks of international break could help you get rid of the entire coaching staff and bring people in. There's no. My point is, you know how inept they are because of the timeline and how they decided to do it. Fine, they fired him. Great. You want a prize for that? It's like, no, you did it the worst timing possible. We have an insane run of fixtures. Villarreal, Chelsea,
they're good
Arsenal.
at nothing.
It's unbelievable.
We will never win anything.
They're setting us up for failure.
Yes,
if we lose to Villarreal, we might go to Europa League because of this shit decision. It's like they had 2 weeks and they wasted. They let him go on vacation, dude. It's unbelievable how crazy, how horrible Ed Woodward and the Glazers are for this club. It's like, you and me don't know shit, and we know 10 times more than they do. It's like you can't make this change before Villareal. Ole had to go, but he had to go November 7th.
He had to go October 24th, 25th. He had to go after the Liverpool game, sir. It's silly. It's kind of like a exercise in insanity for us to go through this and be like, look at all the times they could have made a different decision that would have been logical. These guys are not making good decisions. These are we're one of the worst run clubs in the league. I say this all the time. I know it probably sounds fucking stupid to a lot of people, but it's true. It's we are run very poorly. There's so many mistakes that
Newcastle was up there.
They were, dude. They're up there. They're probably right, but now they're probably right ahead of us because they literally just got bought and they're putting people in front of them that are competent, sir. Dude, a $90 million player is leaving on the free again, and with his finger, his
I
middle
wouldn't let
finger
that
is
happen.
up. Of course,
I wouldn't let that happen.
After Herrera left for a free,
I wouldn't let
Lingard's
that
leaving
happen.
for a free, sir.
I wouldn't
you
let
bought
that happen.
another manager. They think they're going to figure it out by putting it. They think it's the greatest manager in the history of managers. So they could get Pep and Klopp working together, and they would still fuck it up. We wouldn't win shit, bro. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the manager. It matters about the front office. The front office is what enables the manager to succeed, right? If you have a very incompetent front office, it doesn't fucking matter if you have Zeus as your manager. You will fail, bro, because you are only as good as your board. Your board is why Klopp was able to pull off good transfers, sir. It's why I know City's a little different because they just throw money at the problem, but Klopp, dude, they're on the front foot, dude. They put money men that actually were we don't know what we're doing, so we're going to hire football people because they know what they're doing. Instead, we have former bankers and accountants, and we're suffering, sir, and we're going to continue to suffer, sir. It doesn't matter. So just we talk about the board and the decisions they could have made, it's yeah, we can talk about that for they can write books on that shit, bro. They're going to do Harvard case studies on mismanagement.
This is a case. This is literally a case study, and when
how to destroy football
when
club.
you break down the decisions that are made in a business and you retroactively review them as a case study, this is kind of what you get. But first, we're going to go through the managers since Sir Alex Ferguson.
Look at the caretaker. He's a caretaker. I know. That's sad.
It's really sad.
They've already put that up.
Look, so we're on Wikipedia. We got to give Ole credit, first of all.
Longest tenure.
Yeah, exactly. So hold on. We just got to make sure we got all the stats right. Okay, so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, 168 matches in charge. That's the most of any manager we've had at Manchester United since Sir Alex Ferguson. That is a big deal, sir. He won 91, drew 37, lost 40 for a 54.17 win rate, sir. Goals for 308, goals against 180.
Second highest win rate of all the coaches since Fergie.
Yes. And so you got to give credit because, like what Gary Neville said, it was a dark day when Jose Mourinho left. Pogba in crisis, a lot of locker room dynamics that were really bad. And it's essentially when Jose goes sour, it all goes sour. And then someone's got to come in and clean it up. Ole was the perfect guy to do that. Perfect interim to the end of the season. Turn things around. Ole's at the wheel. We all remember that. But the real issue is that when Champions League football was on the line, he crashed out. That was a real poor finish to the season. If anyone remembers, when he was appointed in 2019, the early...
No, we finished 6th. I remember.
It was the way we finished was really bad. No backbone. We were sliding. He couldn't turn it around. But the thing is, Eddie Woodward and the board had already given him the permanent deal.
Because PSG.
And so anyone running this club... All the fans are screaming, sign him up, sign him up. You can't. He has to perform. You say, get top 4, the job is yours, and he does it, then you hire a real manager, sir. That is how this multi-billion-dollar club should run its results-based business. So arguably, he shouldn't have been appointed to the permanent role in the first place, and that's where they went wrong. You look at the CV of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he doesn't deserve 450 million pounds or whatever they spent to back a manager without the CV. They did that, and then this is what you get. So another bad business decision if you look at it retroactively, because Ole was the perfect man to turn the Jose doom and gloom around. He did it, and then you bring in
they should have
whoever
just made him
with the CV
right away. Like the best
exactly.
move is like
make him director of football. You're great at figuring out players.
Play the United way.
Exactly.
Like he would have been perfect. So then it's the rot.
It was the wrong decision.
Yeah, it was.
So they basically killed Ole.
Took a round peg, put it in a square hole,
and
jammed that shit in until it broke. And so he would have been a great DOF. He would have been happy.
Or head of culture or something, whatever. You could have brought him in to be like, you could have brought him in somewhere in the club. You said, hey, something's here, but doesn't have the CV to manage Manchester United like on the day basis in a final, etc. So you could have used him for the positive. Instead, you ride him and grind him, especially the last month, and he leaves the club. So it's sad to see.
It is sad to see. But you look at this, it's like, damn, you should have backed Jose.
This is another.
50, I mean, look at that, 58%. That is like a very good win rate in the Premier League.
So we're going back before Ole, right? Because you got to kind of go back to the other managers, compare it. So Mourinho, another example, comes in 2016. Obviously, we know how he left. 144 matches in charge, 58% win rate, 1 Europa League trophy. He won the Community Shield and the EFL Cup, sir. We're talking 58% win rate and trophies and no pandemic. And the Glazers didn't back Mourinho. The Glazers didn't give Mourinho a center back. He wanted a center back, and they wouldn't spend. So you hire Jose Mourinho, who's a quick fix guy. You spend money. You get older all-stars in. You win stuff now. That's kind of the way Mourinho works. You saw Zlatan. How did he do?
No, I don't miss Jose. I don't miss that personality. He was cancerous.
No, but from a business case study perspective, you bring Jose in, the expectation is to spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
They didn't. And then they got in a fight with him, and then it all fell out from there. That's how Mourinho works. He's basically high beta. You got to back him. The board decided not to. So why bring him in even? Louis van Gaal comes in, 52% win rate. You back Louis van Gaal.
And he was the worst recruiter we ever had. He was the worst recruiter we ever had.
I know, exactly. So you back the worst recruiter you ever had, and then you don't back Mourinho, who arguably is the win now guy. So you obviously have to back the win now guy. They don't do it. Instead, you back LVG right when LVG starts playing well, wins you an FA Cup. You kind of, how many years are you? You're 2 seasons into this philosophy, and it's starting to pay dividends, and then you sack him.
Which was painful.
It was painful, but he was clearly imposing a style, and as soon as that style started working, and you won an FA Cup, you sacked them.
You see in a repeating pattern, sir?
Exactly.
You see a repeating pattern of decisions made at the wrong time, backing the wrong people, backing the right people. You know, it's like it talks about who's in front, who's on first, who's in charge, who's deciding who gets the money, who doesn't.
Exactly.
There's no continuation of football and philosophy between the coaches. They just it worked under Fergie. He owned the club. He was the club. He was the philosophy, right? In terms of like what he says goes, and he kind of was the overarching guy of everything. And they wanted another one of those. And they've just like always been looking for another one of those that can kind of do everything. So they don't have to do anything other than just rip money out of the club. And they were hoping Ole could do that. And he did things really well. The highs were really high. The lows were really low. But like, dude, we're gonna fail. We're gonna continue to fail. The next manager will fail.
Well, these
because
are
of this board, bro. They will fail again.
That's the whole point. Is
and
you're
we'll do
basically
another hot take pod when we fire the next manager. So
I'm trying to just show you there are things that the board did to each of these managers that impeded them from succeeding. So like each manager had to work against the board that would not give them what they needed to succeed, including David Moyes. All these deals, David Moyes tried to sign Fabregas, try to get Tony Cruz, try to get a bunch of players in. Ed Woodward, remember, we can do things in the transfer market people can only dream of. I believe that's when he gave you that quote.
True.
And you know what he did? No one could dream of Fellaini.
Overpriced
Fellaini on the last day. That's all David Moyes got. You got a feel for him. And also, oh, by the way, Sir Alex Ferguson, David Gill, they both knew the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, they're like, we're out.
And they bounced because they saw that the Glazers weren't reinvesting in this team and that he got that title. And he was like, all right, I'm out because this team is done and dusted and needs a full rebuild. Oh, by the way, Moyes, who Sir Alex Ferguson said to back, didn't get that rebuild. Ed Woodward couldn't figure out how to sign any players.
And who got it? Van Gaal got it.
And then Van Gaal got it.
Players.
Exactly. And so it's this whole cycle. So be careful what you wish for. The only reason why we're trying to highlight this is these decisions that the board are making are not helping these managers. Any manager on this list, if they treated differently, could have succeeded at Manchester United. And the one who really, like, you look at LVG, he hasn't come back in the game since. Maybe he's going to the Netherlands right now. Mourinho, he's on the slide.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Moyes, I mean, you'd argue Moyes he's on the up.
Moyes was probably the one to back. Moyes was the one, like,
think about that first transfer window, right? Like, they fucked them then. That team needed so much rebuilding. That team was old, needed rebuilding, started in 11, and they weren't spending any fucking money because Fergie was still winning. Moyes came in, they bought one player. They needed like 6 players that summer, sir. We needed like 6. We needed 2 midfielders, 2 defenders, 2 attackers. We got Fellaini, who actually ended up being a pretty good signing. He scored a bunch of big goals.
I know.
Bro.
I like Fellaini. So look, not Manchester
United
United
player. Not as much as my life, sir. Not as much as my wife.
Yeah. Look, we have a quote from 3 years ago on Mourinho from Roy Keane. Feels like it's Groundhog Day, sir. Let's just hear what he has got to say.
Mourinho under the bus, and they will do exactly the same to Ollie. Leopards don't change their spots. There's too many bluffers at this club to get United back to the very top. Even the point that we're talking about Man United trying to finish 4th tells you how the standards have dropped at United over the last few years, I think both on and off the pitch. So big test for Ollie as well, of course.
Yeah, and that's why I was angry on Sunday, because Jose Mourinho's a hardened manager, 20 years success, and you could say, well, okay, he can handle it, but sat next to Ollie in the change room for 11 years, you have a feeling towards him. You're not going to sit here and be quiet watching them players throw him under a bus. It's not happening.
And it's not up. Hopefully, people will agree with me here in the studio that it's not up to the manager to motivate the players. You've got to motivate yourself. You've got to be up for every game at Manchester United. And the fact Ollie's got to discuss it after the game and again the following few days about his players not being up for a game of football, he must be hugely embarrassed.
Yeah, the same things continue at Manchester United, sir. I mean, that's what, Roy Keane hit on it. That's 3 years ago, talking about
what's changed.
And what happened this week. Jesse Lingard throwing up the West Ham post. Paul Pogba, where are you at?
Laughing.
And it's, you know what? It's a different game. It's a different game. And is it a coincidence that Jesse Lingard post comes out and Ole's out? And I would say no. I don't think so. It shows you kind of where, like you said, a bunch of bluffers. How are you going to win things with that? You think you think other big teams who are challenging for top accolades are going to be throwing out posts of former teams and stuff like that on social media? I don't think so, sir. There's something about it. It could be a culture in this dressing room that has existed from Mourinho to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I don't know what the problem is. I just think we need somebody who can straighten this ship and really get it sorted. So who is that, sir? We conducted a poll online this morning, 360 votes in, threw up some names right off the top. Pochettino, everyone says 10%. Ten Hag is, everyone wants him in, 66%. No one wants Brendan Rodgers, who's currently 12th with Leicester City. And then Zidane at 23%, sir. doing a little rounding, and actually the poll is changing live as we were talking about it. But Ten Hag looks to be the man everyone wants. Put someone. You can drop anyone else in the comments. Simeone, obviously very defensive. Bielsa. Someone says anyone but Rodgers or Southgate. That's another one we've been linked to. Someone says Sir Alex Ferguson.
But this is like we looked at that Wikipedia page of the tenure of managers since Fergie. We talk about important decisions made, not made, deferred, what timing, etc. This decision they make next is fucking massive.
And I'm nervous.
I'm so nervous because they're incompetent. So like the manager they pick next is so important. Even if it waits until the end of the year, which is bad because actually that'd be really bad because you're probably going to lose more than just Pogba and Lingard. I think you're going to lose Bruno Fernandes.
No, the team is in shambles.
Lose Cristiano Ronaldo. I think they're all going to try and leave if you don't get a real manager in like by the end of the month.
No, team is in
we're in free fall, dude.
From a director of football perspective. From Murtaugh's perspective, the team's absolutely fucked from contracts and everything. Like the amount of players that this board will need to buy that they won't want to buy is crazy for us to actually compete next season. But they'll also think, oh, new manager is going to be a throwaway season. We're building. So, day late, dollar short FC continues. There's only one, in my opinion, there's really only one decision on the table for Manchester United. It is Ten Hag. If you look at the data, we're on his Wikipedia page. He was appointed manager of Ajax in December 2017, 72.83% win rate, sir. His win rate with Utrecht, 50.45. So he was at Bayern Munich under Pep Guardiola, Bayern Munich 2. That's how they kind of set up their junior teams there, 66.67%. Under Pep Guardiola, you see how well organized Ajax is. You see the win rates, sir. Semifinals of Champions League. He's punching above his weight. He's got, he's absolutely top notch, sir. His honors as a manager. He's won the Eredivisie twice, 18, 19, 2021. He's won the Dutch Cup, 18, 19, and 2021, sir. He's best FIFA men's coach. He got 4th place in 2019, sir. A few other individual awards. He's won the league with Ajax, played youth. Donnie came up in that team. A lot of all-stars come out of that team. They've been selling those all-stars, and he continues to perform well. A great manager with a great system. It's the one we need at Manchester United. Pochettino failed at Spurs, failing at PSG. Why would you want Pochettino?
He's a terrible manager.
Look, you hate Pochettino?
Well, look at his CV. Look at his CV.
I understand, but Pochettino's kind of like a Mourinho, where you kind of see him. He kind of hit that Champions League final at Spurs and has never been back. He's on the decline.
Two Champions League titles and like how many league titles?
No, I'm saying he's on the decline.
Yeah, he is.
He's on the decline right now. So why would you? I want to hire a young manager on the up. Ten Hag is that manager. You watch how Ajax play. It's what the modern game is about. He learned under Pep Guardiola. Obviously, I hate Pep, but he gets that style of play. That style of play is here to stay right now. We need him as our manager. The problem is I don't think the board can make the decision. Not only do we need him as the manager, we need Edwin van der Sar as the CEO.
Which will never happen.
Of Manchester United. Instead, it'll be some numpty Ed Woodward friend, accountant, etc. But so this is kind of where I'm seeing it. If you're a board and you're looking at all the information and who you have available, I think it's pretty clear. You see, obviously the fans are sharp on the Twitter poll, but just look at the CV of Ten Hag. He is the man for the manager. I would have said Nagelsmann would have been the guy. I would have loved Nagelsmann just because the way he plays, bold, attacking. I like that. Ten Hag's probably like a little more pass it around, kill you with the pass. That's fine. He's more technical, but in the modern game, this is what we need. This is a style that we need to go to, sir. I mean, Hero Ball FC's got to go. We need a system. We need players buying in, and this is the type of manager we need at Manchester United.
So this is the type of manager. This is the type of manager you will not get. Yeah, because Poch
exactly.
Honestly, as much as that Poch got third, Poch would be worse than Brendan Rodgers because Pochettino was a average player and he's a below average
I know
coach.
Everyone knows you hate Pochettino,
but he's never won anything.
I get it. It's not a big deal.
But that's who you're gonna get. That's who you're gonna get. That's who you're gonna get. You're gonna get the lowest of the barrel. Yeah. So Rodgers or Poch.
Stanley Chow designed all of our logo and everything. He's the man. He has gone to match with Sir Alex. He said on the podcast, Sir Alex Ferguson likes Pochettino. We'll probably get Pochettino because he's going to get the boot out of PSG. It will be the easiest deal to do. Ten Hag signed an extension, so then you'd probably have to pay out Ajax. he's apparently number 2. The rumors right now are Poch 1, Ten Hag 2. We'll see how it goes. We got, and who knows who the interim manager is.
Around and around
I'm
we
available.
go, baby. Around and around we go.
Jumping into fan questions here at T. Zolski on Twitter, quote, "It's unfortunate it didn't work out and it took this long, but he will always be a club legend. However, I don't have the faith in the board to right the ship. Would love Ten Hag. I feel like it's a long shot, though." Hashtag Glazers it out. At T. Zolski, reading our minds. We didn't even read this tweet, and it's just like, says exactly how it is. I mean,
our
we
fans,
have the best fans.
The best fans, the smartest shit. Best fans in the world. Everyone knows what we need to do. They just don't have faith that our board's going to pull it off.
At Davey T _, just like the Chelsea scum had to say goodbye to their club legend in order to improve, so did we. He wasn't having fun anymore. Go enjoy retirement. Absolute legend. And oh, by the way, Ole is going to be added to the intro of the pod, sir. And I think the fitting quote was, "Sorry for smiling." I think that's the one he's going to. We have all the quote of managers past, and he was always going to be added to the intro. And
in 10 years, that
it's
intro's
a sad
going
day.
to be like 3 minutes long. So it's going to have so many managers. You got like 14 managers on it being like.
Well, I have 2 LVG quotes. I can get rid of one of those. But either way, Ole will be added. I'll do that this week for the next podcast. Oh, by the way, we got Villareal on Tuesday.
Are you gonna run it by that?
Michael Carrick. I'm not. It's hard to comment on the Carrick thing, but it's like, surely the man who is like part of the failing team should not be still running. I get how like he might need it to be there because it's like there's 3 days, so he has to.
Somebody's got to pick an 11.
So in that regard, you probably can't complain, but that's why you do it over the international break, so you don't have to have Carrick here. You could bring in the interim then. At Charlie _Ferris, once a legend, always a legend. No doubt he gave his all to the club, but it wasn't enough. Let down also by the structure of incompetence. He brought back some good times, and I'm forever grateful to Ole. Hashtag Solskjaer has won it. Hashtag Glazers out now. At JDW 300, he did everything asked of him when he was appointed interim and more when he became permanent manager. I just think he reached the ceiling of his abilities as manager. Time for a top tier manager to bring us back to glory. Ragnick as interim, Ten Hag on a 3-year deal. I love that as well. I can't pronounce Ragnick's name, but I have seen interviews with him. I did look at his CV. Bayern.
He's a little old. He's like a Van Gaal.
He's a little old, but interim would be good for him. He's
got some Van Gaal vibes.
You can't fail as interim, sir. You and me could be interim. We could be like co-managers on the sideline.
Co-managers.
So you would be like, like the 1990s big warm-up suit, with the big pants that go whoop, whoop.
Triple X, baby. Triple X. Big X's.
I'd be suit. You gotta be suit and tie, sir. At the Alex Davis 33, quote, just want to thank Ole for everything. We had some great memories. He did a great job building a squad that can compete for any honor. Needs to go get more experience. Young enough of a manager. Who's to say he can't improve and come back one day? Forever, our Solskjaer. Can't agree more. At Jordan _R, the piling on definitely feels a little harsh when he actually leaves, but it was needed. I'll take anything besides Rodgers or Poch. You said the same thing, so you and Jordan are on the same page here.
I would take Rodgers over Poch in a second.
No, 1-1 for Rodgers, bro.
He's won 2 things at 2 different clubs. Poch has never won anything.
He's not good enough.
He was
for
a bad
United.
player. He's a bad manager.
There's only one man. It's 10.
We're not getting them. Here's the thing. The
It's
problem is
only
we're
one.
not getting who you want. So who else? Who do
No,
you?
but I'm saying-
Who do you not want? What's that line in the wire, bro? He's like, where do you not want to get placed? He's like, who do you not want as your next manager? Because I don't want Poch, so we're definitely getting Poch.
You can look.
Who do you not want? You don't want Brendan Rodgers? You're getting Brendan Rodgers. So look.
I
Go
wanted.
to his Wikipedia.
I wanted Pochettino after he left Spurs, but since he's been at PSG, I don't think.
Dude, he's like Mourinho in the sense that he's on the decline, but he's never won any. Dude, he's never won anything. He was a bum player, and he's a
just
bum.
go to the
honors.
The extra sauce you don't need to add. Like he's a bum.
He's a good guy. I'm sure he's a nice. I'm sure he's a lovely human being.
It's like all apologies, all American. It's like it's like it's a rational hate against Pochettino.
I know he's going to be the next manager. I just feel it coming. We're not going to win anything.
It's like when we signed
Show me that
Cavani.
winning rate.
It's like,
Show me those winning
actually,
rates.
the more you hate on Poch, the better he'll do when he comes in. He's a bum.
Sure.
Okay,
What's that winning percentage at Southampton
Okay,
and Espanyol?
38%. 48.33% win percentage. At Southampton, 54.27 at Spurs, and he didn't get a lot. I mean, like the only takeaway from Spurs you got to say is like couldn't win silverware. That was rough. That was bad. Kind of like, but I think it was the players let him down. Like Ole let the team down in the final against Dansk. Watching the Champions League final, I think it's like the Harry Kane. I think those players couldn't show up. I don't think
the wrong 11 though. Remember, because Kane was injured and he started Kane when like Mora came off a hat trick that got him to the final in the first place. Like he bottled that a little. He's got like, but then go to the honors, sir. Go to the honors.
And then
that's what
PSG 69.81%.
Farmers League,
and he's going to get fired if he doesn't win the champion. So it's really how does he do? In the Champions League,
runners. He's good at running it up. He blew League One for PSG, which is almost impressive.
But he wasn't the manager for the full season.
Yeah, exactly. He came in, they were first, and when he finished the season, they were second.
Look, exactly. So
we're gonna get him.
If he's not good enough for PSG, let's see TBD on how he does the rest. If he wins the Champions League with PSG, he's not coming. So,
exactly. So it won't matter.
So you're right. It won't matter. But
if he wasn't good enough for Spurs, you think he's good enough for us?
All right, another great tweet. At CR7 is home. Quote, the Glazers will just install another bullet shield. I thought he said bullshit shield. The same thing. Probably someone we love like Carrick, rinse, robbery, repeat. I mean, hashtag Glazers out now. That's the best tweet.
That's true.
Don't just going to install like another person who's going to take the hits for them. And then like doesn't mind when they don't spend money. At Beebs United, not sure who is going to be coming in interim. Seems difficult. Listen to an Ogden report that says we're the biggest club in the world. We just need to pay the money and get whoever we want and start to build now and not wait till summer. Money on Rodgers. So at Reds of the West.
Biggest club in the world. Get Brendan Rodgers.
Yes, if me and Alex are running the team, we would spend money and get a manager and then build and hire like a world-class director of football and invest in the team and system over an extended period of time while communicating with the fans what the process is so they could be read in on it and it would be clear and so everyone can sort of see what our goals and sort of key performance indicators for success would be at the largest club in the world. And instead, they're going to install another bullshit shield and hide behind it and PR spin zone with Neil Ashton and put Eddie Woodward in some advisory committee because they think he did such a good job. Somebody tell me how Ed Woodward did a good job at Manchester United. This is abject failure. You go through all the managers. He was the man who bowed to firing Moyes early. He was the man who backed LVG. He's the man who let Mourinho have it and sacked him and then held on to Ole when he was melting down for no reason and fired him with 2 days before a match when we're top of the table in Champions. No one's talking about that. That's the one thing I hate about the firing the manager is that the board doesn't get any of the shade because they should be talking about you are top of the table in your Champions League group. It is such an important match. Why did you fire him now and didn't do it before? It makes no sense. It literally is like the world we're living in with this club is just your head spins, sir.
They're not held accountable. They have there's no pressure to get better, right? You think those rooms, you think the boardroom, annual Glazer conference is they're asking hard-hitting questions about how they can get better, how they can improve, how the organization can perform more efficiently and push us to the next level. No, dude, they're just how can we get more money? How can we increase the dividend? We need to get them out. And the only way to get them out is by the fans to continue the pressure on the owners. And unless we do that, they're going to just keep hanging around because the money's good. The money's good because, it just is because they still make a shit ton of money.
Hashtag team viewer. Next tweet here at Mike United Mets. We're going to finish on this one. That night in Paris, 2-0 versus City, longest beaten away run in Premier League history. Ole might not have been the guy to get this team over the line, but he restored a positive feeling for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson. We do agree. Respect. Big up to Ole. He goes on, will Carrick change anything? I think if Ole goes, they all should have. That's another great point.
I agree.
The reason why Carrick's staying is because they decided to fire him with 3 days before another game. So literally the plan is in place for this game and they need somebody who is there to just get you through Villareal. And then probably through Chelsea, and then you were thinking interim. It would probably take a week to get interim, and then Carrick. And these are unfortunately they're throwaway games, because Carrick's in charge, and who knows, but they decided to do it this way. We're living in the hashtag Glazers out world, and this is it. So, you can't, there's not a better example of complete numpties than the way that they're handling this situation and have handled this season so far. It's like, they got to send like a carrier pigeon down to Tampa. That's the only excuse. Zoom exists. You can get on the phone after Scouts Bastards. He's got to go. Woodward was the one holding on. I know it had to be Woody, not one to get rid of him, because it looks bad for Woodward if the last thing he did, the last project failed, Dude,
it's all failed. It's been a continuous failure. The real thing is, like, how did this happen? How did this happen for so long? It's because they're just not watching. Like, they don't see that they get up at 4 a.m, watch these games, 7 a.m, East Coast time in Florida, watch. Dude, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They're like, what? We're losing? Oh, shit. We're not going to finish the Champions League?
That means $100 million, by the way.
I know. That's a lot.
That's it. That's the podcast. Emergency pod. Ole, R.I.P. He did great things to this club. We missed him. Big respect.
Turn that up.
Big respect for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer here.
I'm looking.
If you want to support the podcast, you can support us on Patreon, www.patreon.com/America Red Devils. You can visit our website, www.americareddevils.com. Click on store. We're going to get our hoodies up this weekend, sir. Give them the respect line.
Respect, man. Respect.
Always and forever. Dude, always and forever. If it ended a month ago, it would not be this stinky as it is right now. It's a fucking shit show because the board allowed it. But he was a good influence on the club. He did steady the ship. Now you need a proper tactician manager to take it to the next level. But, like, dude, respect. The board, they deserve nothing but contempt. Nothing but contempt.
All right, sir, give us our top 10 cities last 7 days.
Sir, number 1, how you doing? Singapore, Columbus, Ohio, Washington, West Virginia, Clearwater, Florida. Sounds kind of like the list from yesterday. Jackson, Ohio, Tampa, Florida, Lubbock, Texas. This one's new. Lillehammer, Norway. Appreciate it. They're not going anywhere, sir. Mohegan Lake, New York, and last but not least, Oslo, Norway. We also got Dhaka, Bangladesh. Appreciate you. Ralph is Norway. Sir, I don't know if the Norwegians are going anywhere, so they're hardcore.
Yeah, shout out to Norway. They are hardcore. They came out strong. Baby. Listen to the pod. Shout out to Ole and his family. We wish him well. It'll be interesting to see where he goes next. Apparently, he's taking a break. He well deserved.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
I hope
he deserves better.
Hope that Glazers board proves me wrong, but I know Ed Woolworth's still around. We shall see. We're going to end it here. It's only one way. You are my Solskjaer. Everyone have a great weekend.